Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Thanks for your support on Patreon, The Craftsman, Blake, Carpet Man. Sasha Banks returns to WWE. Sasha Banks' hair turns heel. And the King of the Ring tournament has been announced. And the WWE already losing faith in Bray Wyatt's Fiend character. Click the timestamps in the video description below to go straight to any of those stories right now. I'm Ollie Davis. Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and answer our question of the day in the comments. What do you think of Sasha Banks' WWE return? Because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere. And click the eye above my head to give your rating of the show, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core, Average, Poor, and Rawful, as I review the 12th of August episode of Monday Night Raw, which is now actually called Monday Night Rollins again, or if Michael Cole has his way, Monday Night Becky Lynch's boyfriend. Seth thanked us all for believing in him, the WWE Universe, his bank account, to be interrupted by the brilliant heel faction, the OC, which set up a match between AJ Styles and Seth for the main event. The Street Profits then recapped what's going on in WWE right now for Sami Zayn to warn them about the perils of the main roster. He's right, Street Profits! Run! Run while you're still over! But in so doing, Sami insulted Samoa Joe, who, you guessed it, was standing right behind him. Joe then tapped out Zayn in seconds, which seemed to be continuing his babyface turn alluded to last week, until immediately after when he trashed the crowd on the mic. God damn it! Dolph Ziggler came out for his match against The Miz, still selling his ribs. What a jabroni, hey Seth? Saying he can't compete tonight, which was actually a ruse to blindside Miz. Actually had a pretty good TV match, with Dolph tapping to Miz's figure 4, for Ziggler to do his same "'tis but a flesh wound" routine again. Ricochet interrupted Elias's song, leading to a match between the two. Elias, remember, being a SmackDown star wildcard. Ricochet rolled up Elias after a pretty botchy match for the win. Following Andrade's back-to-back wins over Rey Mysterio in the last 2 weeks, the two had a 2 out of 3 falls match here, where Zelina Vega helped Andrade get one pin right at the start, for Rey to obviously get the second fall to go to the tiebreak. Incorrect! Andrade then just won the second fall too! A 2 out of 3 falls match that just went 2 falls! That's 100% booking! Interestingly, Ray told Charlie Caruso backstage afterwards that he's got no idea where his career is going, and then mumbled something about his family, because eventually he will get his son Dominic pushed. Michael Cole then rather unprofessionally took a Skype call from Stone Cold Steve Austin mid-broadcast, which was a very transparent way of, number 1, endorsing Rollins to get him over after recent social media gaffes, and B, Austin has a new TV show to plug. Drew McIntyre told Not Renee Young backstage that he's going to boot Cedric Alexander's skull in, and then proceeded to do just that with one of the best claymores of all time, taking about 80% of a really decent TV match between the two, and somehow making Alexander look awesome in the process, including a bunch of close roll-ups from Cedric, a Spanish fly off the top rope, and a "This is awesome" chant from the crowd. Robert Roode quickly beat No Way Jose next, hopefully signaling an actual push for him, but in only the second biggest hair heel turn of the night, he did so with a full beard. Rude's moustache, we hardly knew ye. In its beefy honor, here's a moustache break. I can hardly say it hurts so bad. Heyman then complained backstage that WWE had decided Brock Lesnar wouldn't be getting a rematch for the Universal title. Paul, didn't you hear? They're antiquated. The most fun part here was everyone actually pretended Brock was there in the dressing room in the building, when he's quite obviously not, he's at home. The Revival versus Lucha House Party was only ever a backdrop to 24/7 title shenanigans, where R-Truth and the usual undercard chase interrupted it for the Revival to become the first ever 24/7 co-champions before Truth won it back. Elias then jumped Truth backstage with a guitar to leave the show as a 3-time champion. I'm hoping this means a new direction for the belt, as the Truth shtick has run its course. But he'll most likely have won it back in a WWE.com video by now. We got the 17th replay of the Roman Reigns Mystery Attacker recap promo in the last 2 days. Natalya came down to the ring with her arm in a sling, selling her disarmer herd arm from the previous night. What a jabroni, Seth. And then started to talk about it being almost a year since her dad died. The purple-haired Sasha Banks to interrupt her with a return. It's a pretty heelish move, which Banks doubled down on by not only attacking Natty, but also by having her hair turn heel, pulling off the purple wig to reveal the cool, cynical blue hair beneath. In fact, the Toronto crowd was so into Natalya eulogizing her dead father, they chanted "Thank you, Sasha." This brought Becky down for the save, as she now respects Natty after their SummerSlam match, but Banks wailed on her with a chair. This was a great return and sets up the first properly engaging feud for Lynch since WrestleMania. The Viking "Don't mention the war" experience. Raiders squashed their latest enhancement team. You know that last month of their Raw matches? Yeah. That. Hot off their rubbish SummerSlam match against the Iconics, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross took on the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles, who looked so much better without the awkward visual of their business manager Paige, who was off having neck surgery. Despite Asuka and Kairi Sane being so much fun to watch in the ring, Alexa and Nikki managed to isolate Sane for a pretty quick win. It's good the women's tag titles are actually getting focused on. That's 2 weeks in a row now, but there's not enough talent in the division to set up any other feuds. But there's more than enough talent in WWE's mid-card for a multi-week spanning tournament, which is exactly what was announced next, with the fantastic news that King of the Ring, what Michael Cole called the most prestigious tournament in sports entertainment, will be starting next week. Yeah, I can't think of any other wrestling tournaments that are so prestigious that have had some of the best wrestling matches of all time, anytime, recently. No, cool. Hopefully a universal title shot is on the line for the winner to give it a big red juicy steak. The main event saw Seth have his torso taped up again, selling his rib injuries from Brock Lesnar the previous night. What a jabroni, Seth. Wait a sec. Which gave AJ a big advantage early on. But because they were heels, they wanted even more. So the OC eventually ran in and beat up Seth for the DQ loss. This brought out Ricochet, who also got beaten up. So Braun Strowman cleared house for the big monster babyface spot, potentially setting up Braun as Seth's first title challenger, which is probably a better use of him than Maria Kanellis and the 24/7 title. This was a really solid episode, with steady progression of feuds and characters, the very welcome announcement return of King of the Ring, and a fantastic angle with Sasha Banks' heel comeback. Crucially though, there was no Fiend, which is frustrating because I want to see him so bad, but in the long run is very smart because it just makes me want to see him more. This week's Raw is core. Speaking of the Fiend, here's Chopper Pete with the news.
Great review, Ollie. It's boss time! Sasha Banks is back. But still though, Sasha Banks to AEW confirmed. With AEW's All Out drawing closer, it doesn't seem like they're stopping in signing more and more talent, as the latest to sign on the dotted line is Jim Cornette's favorite wrestler, Orange Cassidy. The signing was announced on the latest episode of Being the Elite, and features him blending his contract in with some orange juice. As you do. Cassidy was received very well in his appearances for AEW so far, so this seems like a very good signing for the company. I can't wait to vitamin C him in action. Oranges. But now we go from one end of the spectrum to the other as we switch from Orange Cassidy to Goldberg. And that's a match I want to see. At SummerSlam, Goldberg repeatedly destroyed Dolph Ziggler in a very entertaining segment, with Ziggler continually calling out Goldberg, with him answering with spear after spear after spear. Not everyone was a fan of this segment, it seems though, as the latest Twitter feud has sparked between Goldberg and former WWE star Jack Swagger, now going by real name Jake Hager in his MMA career, or by Jake Strong in Lucha Underground. Clearly Swagger wasn't thrilled with Goldberg's match, as he tweeted, "Maybe if you have a match on #Summerfest, you should be able to work a match. At Goldberg, I'm tired of this shit." To which Goldberg tactfully responded, "Easy kid." Swagger would then do his final reply, saying, "Okay, but can you at least kick out on 2? This is in reference to Goldberg kicking out of 2 Dolph Ziggler super kicks at 1, which seems to have riled up Swagger. I personally thought it was fine, though maybe the second super kick should have gone to a 2 count. Swagger is just the latest star to have some sort of beef with Goldberg, following in Matt Riddle's footsteps. But perhaps he could get a face-to-face meeting with him if he gets an invite to the new super-duper SmackDown show that Goldberg will be appearing at. Somehow I don't think he will. WWE announced yesterday that they'll be hosting a SmackDown 20th 30th anniversary show, which just so happens to be their debut show on their new network, Fox. What a happy coincidence that is, despite the first SmackDown airing in April 1999. This looks like it will be a Raw reunion type show, with legends such as Kurt Angle, Booker T, Hulk Hogan, and well-known SmackDown stars Goldberg and Sting. I'm sure they'll share all their memories of being on the brand. In what is pretty clearly an attempt at a ratings bump for their first show on a new network, it'll be interesting to see if it has the same effect as the Raw reunion, which bumped Raw's rating up significantly, or whether this will have some sort of diminishing returns effect, as this is the 4th time doing this kind of show after Raw 25, SmackDown 1000, and the aforementioned Raw reunion in 2 years, and the 2nd in 3 months. Or hopefully after the Fiend's incredible debut at SummerSlam, he can just come out and destroy every single legend, and that would be awesome. However, there might be a worrying sign for fans of The Fiend. In a rare move, WWE uploaded The Fiend's full entrance from SummerSlam to their YouTube channel, which was over 3 minutes long. Now, however, they've edited the video down to just 55 seconds. The reason for this is as of yet unclear, but an interesting thing to note is it seems to cut out parts with the severed head lantern on show, so perhaps the severed Bray Wyatt head lantern was considered a step too far. Could this mean the lantern will be scrapped on future entrances? It could also just be an error on their part and they weren't supposed to upload the full entrance, but that doesn't seem as likely as it took them a long time to respond to it and chop it down. The entrance from SummerSlam was considered by many to be the talking point of the night, with some calling it one of the most important things to happen in WWE in recent memory. The last thing fans would want is to have Bray Wyatt's creative vision stifled, because that glimpse into the Fiend we got was perfection. Fingers crossed Wyatt can continue being Wyatt and bring his own severed head to the ring as a lantern. I can't believe that's a sentence that makes sense. It's been teased that there's a shocking movie coming out in Phase 5 of the MCU. Check out Screenstalker today with Luke and housemate Simon to find out all the details by pressing the video on screen now. Press the thumbs up, subscribe, and bell icon before you go though, and leave a comment letting us know what you thought of Raw. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you can see scrolling below me right now. I've been Quinnell, and that was wrestling.